Hello and welcome to Terraforge Motorsports. My name is Alfred. If you've been on the channel before, you might have known it as a few different names, like Off Camber or potentially way back long ago, Adventure Bound Off-Road. Well, we've actually decided to open up a business under the Terraforge Motorsports name. So to keep the YouTube channel and the business all under like the same, everything, we're changing the channel once again. But this point moving forward, it's all going to be Terraforge. But if you've been on the channel, then you're really familiar with Jeep right behind me. It's a 2012 Jeep Wrangler, and we've done a lot of modifications to it. We've done a lot of motor-built armor. We have some trail-ready beadlocks, 38-inch nittos, and let's just say the build is progressing over time. And today we're actually going to be installing an ARB compact air system. And that is going to be an accessory mod to a future project we have coming down the road, and that's going to be a junkyard 1-ton swap. And the 1-tons that we're going to be using is going to be a Super Duty 60 for the front, and then also a Chevy 14 bolt for the rear. Now the lockers are going to be utilizing, and those axles are going to be ARB air lockers. And to be able to actuate the lockers when we want to, we're going to need an air source. So today we're going to be installing the ARB compact compressor. And what we're gonna do is go through the install, and I'll show you guys what it is, where I'm mounting it, and it might help you guys on your build. But let's go ahead and start getting the Jeep ready and start rolling into the install. There's a number of different places where you can mount your ARB air compressor. Some people decide to put them in the engine compartment. Some people put it in the little trunk area in the back of the JK, the Unlimiteds, where it's just random storage. And some people decide to put it underneath the seats, which that's what I'm going to be doing over here on the driver's seat. Because as you can tell, there's already a bracket here where it has the seat harness where it just the clips to. In its current state, it's kind of high for the air compressor, and it's just gonna rub the seat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make my own bracket, drop this one down a little bit more, and then the compressor is gonna be hard mounted to that. Now the reason why I chose the seat versus any other places like I mentioned, either the engine or that rear cargo area, is a few different reasons. First reason why I didn't choose the engine is because, well, the engine goes through a lot of heat cycles, and a compressor, this little motor, doesn't like a lot of heat. And another reason why, to avoid the engine compartment, is just because it's exposed to the weather. You're gonna get mud, debris, water, and just all that isn't good for a compressor. Even though there is a filter on it, the heat cycles and just the elements can really reduce the lifespan of these compressors. The rear cargo area, that would be a good spot too. But long-term goal for this build is, well, that's gonna be coming out at some point for a fuel cell. Putting it underneath the driver's seat would be just fine. This is only going to cycle a few times while off-road, and unless I get an air leak. But for the most part, this would be a good spot for it. And plus, I'll mount it so the filter is actually facing outboard. So if I do have to clean it, it's a pretty quick grab, clean it out, and throw it back on. So let's start taking this off and start making up a bracket for it. The good thing about these ARB single compressors is that this anodized body bracket is able to be reclocked. So if you don't have, let's just say, the vertical space to mount this, you can throw in a horizontal plane like that. Which for the seat, we're going to be going this direction. So what I'm going to do is start marking out the holes on my plate I just made, and then we'll bolt it on and see how it's looking. Awesome, that bracket is looking really good. It's mounted in an ideal place. It's gonna be out of the weather, and I cycled the seat back and forth a couple times and nothing contact, so really looking good there. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take the seat out and start doing some of the wiring for the compressor and the wiring for the solenoids. Now this ARB compressor, it does come with its own wiring harness, but a couple days ago I installed a Switch Pro. So I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different, integrating the ARB with the Switch Pro system. So let me show you guys what I got planned out. Before I roll into making my own harness, let me show you guys what the ARB system comes with, and I'll explain a couple reasons why I'm not using this, but I'll show you guys what I'm going to be intending to do. So here's the ARB system. So it's a lot of wiring, but all in all, it's pretty plug and play. I'll add a photo of what the ARB wiring diagram is. But yeah, there's two different harnesses. There's a switching harness for the switches for the compressor and for the lockers if you're running lockers, and then it also comes with the main harness to power the compressor and those locker solenoids. All in all, not bad, but for the amount of wires, it's quite a lot. But another thing too that ARB does is that ARB builds in a safety feature into it, meaning that the safety is you can't run your front locker individually of the rear. So if you're using your lockers, you have to have the rear one locked to have the front one locked. There's no way you can just, in this configuration as it comes, just lock the front. So if you're trying to do a front dig, you really can't do that option unless you try and, modify this harness. But I'm running a Switch Pro, which I installed a few days ago. And the Switch Pro really eliminates a majority of the wiring for this, because the thing I have to do now is for the compressor and the front and rear solenoids, air solenoids, the only thing I have to do is run a ground to them. And then for my power feeds, the only thing I do is just run them from inside the cab, because that's where the compressor is going to be mounted. Run the harness through the firewall along the top side, and then to the Switch Pro, which is over in that corner. And the Switch Pro is a really nice system. It's really compact. It's really high quality, and it just really condenses the amount of wiring they had to do, because everything's all self-contained. All the circuit breakers and relaying is done within the module for the Switch Pro system. So all in all, the ARB stuff isn't bad, but for what I'm trying to do, the Switch Pro really simplifies the whole install. So let me go through and start piecing my harness together, and then hopefully you guys are on the same page as me. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it all that well, but all in all, as things start coming together, I think it's gonna start all clicking together. So let me show you guys what I'm doing next. So hopefully it starts making a little bit more sense to you guys. So I ran all of my grounds, for the locker, or sorry, for the compressor, and then for the two air solenoids to this common ground right here on the tub, and then end up tying in with the harness that we pass through the firewall. So these are all my leads coming in, and from this point it goes to the one of the solenoids, air solenoids. And then for the other air solenoid, which I don't have the locker just yet, so this is just the pigtail coming for the further back. But yep, so and then for the locker, for the power, which and ground, which comes through here, and then the power side, the 12 volts, goes through the pressure switch, and then comes back through, and then goes to our lead, going back to our Switch Pro for our switching capability. So all in all, a lot simpler than what the ARB harness is. And I mean, if you have a Switch Pro or any other kind of switching systems, I think it ends up working out a little bit better. The mount for the compressor, I don't think it's going to be too bad. I don't think it's going to be vibrating too much, but I mean, if it becomes a problem, I can always address that later on. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop the seat, bolt it back down, and then start running the wires to the Switch Pro over on that side. Once we actually get the axles in place, that's when I'll start running the air lines. Kind of still trying to figure that one out. I think what I'm going to do is run for the rear axle. I might just go through the tub right here, since it's kind of like a straight run from the air compressor, the solenoids, through here. And then for the front axle, what what I might do is I might run underneath the carpet and go back underneath this this plastic trim, and then come back through the firewall, back through the firewall, and then straight down through the frame. But we'll put the seat back down and then start running the wire over to the Switch Pro. With our made ARB harness running through the firewall and then along this top side all the way over here, and then terminating right here where the Switch Pro is, what we're going to do now is we're going to connect our harness to the Switch Pro harness, which is right here. I installed this Switch Pro a few days ago, and well, I got to make my own my positive lead run from the Switch Pro to the battery. Switch Pro does give you one in the kit, but it's really long, and for this being such a short run and me trying to make the old one work, I'm just going to make my own new lead. But regardless, what I'm going to do is start figuring out which wires I need to plug these into. I'll put some ends on that. And then, and then this is the controller for the Switch Pro. So as you can tell, I already got my front end locker in position, and then my air on the bottom right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go refer back to the instructions for the Switch Pro system and determine what colors are what, and then we'll get this powered up, and then I'll just make a jumper lead and then do a quick test and see how everything works. As you guys just saw, everything's working as it should be. We press the switch for the air compressor kicks on, and then as it gets up to its cutout for the pressure switch, the air compressor does turn off. And then same thing when we press the button for the front locker, we hear that solenoid open up and then release all the air pressure. So everything's working as it should. Integrating the Switch Pro and the ARB stuff worked out the way I was hoping it would. Now, the air compressor we went with today is the smallest one that ARB provides. It's their compact air compressor. And for this build, it is perfectly suited for that, because we're only going to be using the air compressor, the air system, to run the ARB lockers in the 14 bolt right here, and then same thing with the Super Duty 60. A future swap for this build, just waiting on parts for the Super Duty 60. ARB does provide other air compressors, a little bit bigger ones. So if you're looking for an air system, definitely give ARB a look. They actually might have something suited for your needs. But I do thank you guys for sticking out with the video. I know it was just kind of like, it wasn't supposed to be a how-to, but I think it might have became like a how-to. But more so, it was supposed to be more like a support mod for the Jeep to utilize the air lockers. But I do thank you guys for watching. If you guys aren't already subscribed, please do. We got future content for the build. Like I said, the one-ton swap is in the near future. So we got some cool things coming along the pipeline. And then we're actually going to hopefully be using the Jeep this year. So we got some trail videos coming out once that does happen. And if you guys have any suggestions how I can make the videos or just the content overall better, definitely let me know in the comments below, because I want to keep you guys, the viewer, happy. But like I said, thanks again for watching this video, and I'll be sure to catch you guys on the next adventure.